Mazzini, Ms. Berthiaume.
Okay. Well, let me sort of address both the specific amended, resolved, and then also larger question, or where I struggle with the Montessori application. And it is precisely around the question of being open to all students and about what values charter schools are intended to serve and whether they're really met in this instance. So initially, way back when we first considered this application, I asked Ms. Guinan whether the preferential treatment for Crossway's community members was integral to the application. And she responded that yes, it was, and she wouldn't drop it. And on that basis, I voted against the initial application. And on that basis, I voted against the reapplication. And then the new submitted application similarly had a slightly amended, but basically driving towards the same goal. And it wasn't until 2 weeks ago, based on an exchange of letters with council, that it became clear that the Crossway's community goals could not really be met under the charter school process. And then, and I apologize if I appeared to be unduly harsh in my questioning as we considered this at our last meeting. But I really needed to know whether or not the charter school law was going to be complied with in regard to the open lottery process. And I was troubled. On the one hand, I have the assurance of the CEO that yes, all laws would be complied with. On the other hand, she kept coming back to your mission is our mission. And respectfully, I disagree. We're Montgomery County Public Schools. Our mission is to educate all children, regardless of income level. One of our goals is to close the achievement gap, and we've done and undertaken many measures to try to accomplish that purpose. But it is not the purpose of the charter school law to allow the conversion of private schools. It is not the purpose of charter school law simply to have another funding stream for low-income social purposes. It is, there's actually some value to charter school in and of itself in terms of innovation, in terms of, in what has sometimes become too much of a one-size-fits-all system, the option to go to Montessori. And there's nothing wrong with that. So where I struggle is with the conflict between the goals and desires of the applicant and not quite meshing with the goals and desires of the charter school law. I could see that this could be resolved, and my issues about trusting the proper implementation of this could perhaps be resolved with an appropriate catchment area, because I would feel that the applicant would be more likely, frankly, to adhere to the lottery in a straight, fair process with no thumbs on the scale, because I do struggle with the notion that these administrators are really going to say to Crossway's community residents, I'm sorry you lost the lottery, you now need to do something else. I just find that a little hard to believe, given the ferocity and the sheer stubbornness which they have clung to. This is our mission, and whatever we need to do to shoehorn things in, we'll do it. If it were a catchment area that was appropriate, I think perhaps maybe that concern would go away. But I can't approve a catchment area to be defined. It's insufficiently vague. I could certainly say Down County Consortium, or the catchment area that we use for our magnet immersion programs. I think those are broad enough to say, okay, well, we've got a previous state board waiver on this sort of thing, and it captures, enough of a population that I think that the applicant could feel that it was likely to serve their preferred audience, as well as targeting and marketing to that preferred audience, while at the same time reaffirming that if a child ends up through the lottery process at this Montessori school, and they happen to be, middle income or upper income, that they will be adequately and made welcome, and feel that this is a public school to which they're entitled to go, and that they will not be shunned aside or made to feel that they're in conflict with the mission. So I can't sign on to a vague to be defined. I could sign on to Down County Consortium. I can sign on to Lower County Magnet Immersion catchment area, but I can't just leave it because it could very well end up, these 5 blocks, and that essentially gets us back to we're just converting a private school.
Let me